Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next season. It's a new season here in ISRL Super Formula. We're now on to season 4, and I'm not on my own for this season. I'll be joined by Hunter the Ponty, but he's just off somewhere, so he'll be back in a second. But we can do the usual things that we usually do. So yeah, here we are, a new season and a couple of new drivers, Fernando and Tony. Probably the two main ones, the two ones that are sticking out here, the Portuguese driver and the Swiss driver, who will be racing in and amongst the league this season. There's also a couple of new teams as well, so it'll be interesting to see how they're getting on by then. Here's an interesting Red Bull looking livery. For the team that have called themselves GT3 Racing Team, despite the fact they are, you know, racing in Super Formula. For Buki, he is racing as well again this season in the hope with, alongside Iati Weeby, I believe, Weeby, who is obviously in their attempt to try and prevent Raiden from taking another championship, and the fact that Raiden isn't racing again this season will help. Vittman and McDonough have kept with the same teammates, so I think they're going to just keep the same livery and such. But yeah, so as Fubi comes out as part of the Shaxi Pirates, it's coming in my head and saying it in that way, but that is the name of the team that they've gone with. The GT3 Racing Team that consists of Fernando and Tony Drago, who is currently top of the timesheet at the moment. I mean, you know, actually being on a flying lap for that matter. Actually, I need to share the stream, that's a good point. A couple of these have come from racing in Group 3, only a few though, not many. Well, these that are racing, so far it's just Bottas and Vittman that came from Group 3. Which is literally kind of just finished, but we'll get qualifying underway at some point. And 3 guy has joined the room, which is good news. So we're seeing numbers slowly increase. So toward the back end of last season, we started to see a lack of numbers. So far we've got 8 drivers, not all of them on the track, however. Share the stream onto Discord. So, the stream, I've shared it onto the Discord then, and we watched this is Buttocks going up through in 4th place. He's returning to the league, obviously, with a reduction in tyre wear we've got for this season. I know, shock horror. The teams apparently had enough of, the drivers apparently had enough of running around on 20 tyre wear. So they chose instead so we've chosen to drop it down to 7. So it's a little less strict on the tyre wear department, which is probably good news for most of the drivers. Just going to quick glance on. Oh, how about it, Hansi?
Name back.
Just explain about how the tyre wear has been reduced this season. Much to the delight of most of the drivers. It turns out, because mainly what happened was that the drivers that were winning races were winning races on like a 7 pit stop strategy, because whoever was the last driver to pit always ended up being fastest because they had fresh tyres, so they were pitting in every 3 laps, which
I know from personal experience,
it was yeah. No Raiden in this one though, crucially. Obviously he's now a 3-time Super Formula champion, he's won all 3 championships, but there's going to be a number of drivers wanting to go for it. For Buki, who failed to do it in the last race of last season, he'll be geared up and ready to go. Vittman, always a strong competitor. If McDonough showed up, he'd be a driver to go for the championship, and we can all agree that Emperor Buttocks is the main favourite for the title this season.
Indeed. Well, obviously, a couple of new drivers now.
Yes, Tony and Fernando.
To be fair, I have raced against Fernando in the Formula Saga GT Championship. He is super quick, so
interesting to see how that goes. What the new talent brings.
Exactly. So we want.
And 3 guys as well. He's returning back into the league. He was in, I think it was season 1, and then wasn't in season 2 and 3. He became a sub, and now he's returned. Buttocks, he raced in season 1 and I believe in season 2, then stepped down for season 3. But it was the reduction in tyre wear that persuaded him to return. And in fact, Ruti, who is going to be Raiden's teammate for a second time in the Killer Queens team. Ruji's competed in all 4 seasons, but has only ever had 2 teammates across the 4 seasons.
Yeah, so I think actually he's been lucky in regards to having a teammate like
Raiden.
Yeah.
But he's
But no, he's quick as well.
He's quick, yeah. And he's got a lovely livery, I must admit.
Yes, Queen.
It's a great looking livery. Why just...
I have to do it once. I have to do it.
That's going to become a king and I guess you could say Ruti wants it all. And he wants it now.
Oh, you just nicked my line, you dick. I was going to say the exact same thing then.
Get ready for many Queen references over the course of the season.
Well, oh god.
I mean, there's the obvious one if Raiden becomes champion.
Yeah, he wants to break through as well.
Because you could say, they are the champions. If they win it again this season.
Exactly.
It's not guaranteed, but, Anyway, we should probably stop talking about Queen and actually look at other drivers instead of just being in awe of that livery.
One person that surprised me joining up this season is Hubie.
Yes. He's quick. He's actually, after last season, he showed up for 2 substitute appearances in Maggiore and Fuji, and he won both of them. So Hubie actually has a 100% win rate in Super Formula. Believe it or not. Every race he's entered, he's won. Will that continue? I kind of hope not, for the spirit of competitiveness.
Yeah. Hopefully. Well, the question is, will Raiden finally get dethroned?
Close between Tony and Hubie there. Got a bit more. The league's gotten a bit more international now as well. We've got Finn, same usual amount of Brits, a Portuguese, a Swiss, and a Dutchman. So we're getting a bit more international. It's not just Brits and one Finn. Occasionally the odd American.
Yeah, true.
Like it has been. What time is it? It is 6:50. Everybody in? Yep. I think, we'll go for stock check. Yes. So, if I had to ask you for our predictions now at the beginning of the season, who do you reckon is going to come out on top? Just as the championship as a whole.
World Championship? It's going to be a tough one, but I'm going to say Sabuki.
Do you reckon?
I think he's got it this year. Yeah, I reckon he's going to take it this year.
Well, I mean, he actually won more races than any other driver last season with 3. Raiden only amassed 2. Hubie got 2. Vit and Nike Donna got 1 apiece. Yes, what?
So what's your prediction for this?
I agree. I think Fabuki is going to be fired up and ready to go, especially after losing out to the championship last season. He's going to want it, and he knows as well that he's quick in these cars and he has the ability to take the fight to Raiden. I think Hubie's going to be up there as well.
I
think Vitten hasn't quite got the
gist yet.
Yeah.
So I tell him what you're going to tell
I'm just going to inform him now. Oh, hang on, he's going anywhere.
No, I think he's been. Yeah, I think
he might have been told by someone in a party chat. I think Hubie's definitely a good shout. I think Raiden is not racing here, but he'll definitely come back As far as overall champion, I think I'm going to say Raiden. I think. I'm not saying I necessarily want Raiden to, but I do want to see another champion. There's nothing against Raiden, but I just think he probably will have it again this season.
Yeah, to be fair, Raiden is #blessed.
I think the team's championship as well is going to be a difficult one to call. Would you reckon? Would you put your money on for the teams?
Teams? You know what, I'm going to say, for teams, I'm going to actually say Killer Queen. Because when you think about it, last season, the consistency that Petri and Raiden put on, who knows?
They did finish third though in the team's championship last season, that pairing. Behind the Stone Age Motorsports, which was Vit and Knight Donner, who they do remain in teams again, and the Northman, that was Fubuki and Luckman, that ended up winning the team's championship last season. I think Fubuki and Hubi is a really strong lineup. Fubuki's shown he's quick, Hubi's shown he's quick, he's a really strong lineup, that, and I do think they'll have it this season. From a team standpoint.
17, won't we?
8 races.
Indeed.
Not as long as last season.
Yeah, not as long as it's a good track to start on though, Nurburgring GP. I've seen a lot of action around here. As
often provided really good racing, really close racing as well. Usually between Wittmann and Raiden it goes down to the wire quite a lot of times. In seasons 1 and 2 they were both fighting until the very last lap. I think last time though Wittmann did take it. He finally managed to get that win in the Nurburgring, and you've got to put him as a contender for it this time round. But there's a lot of competitions in there. I think we're just waiting on everyone to get in, and I think they are, so I think we should be good to start the qualifying system. So I'll just inform Wittmann to start qualifying.
Yeah,
oh wait, no, never mind, because this is the qualifying.
No,
Anyway, yes, after a minor confusion, this is qualifying. So Hubi's going to be the first one, it looks like, to go onto the track. Onto the track, onto the final lap, round the final corner, and here he goes. Going to ride on board with Hubi into turn 1. I reckon quite late between the 100 and the 50 board.
Yeah, that's usually the breaking point in these cars, depending on brake by.
Yeah, they do brake pretty well, these things. It's got good aero. Seems like a decent first sector for Hubi. He's going for pole position. It's key to get a good start to the season, but it'd be interesting to see how the rest of the season shapes up. The first. In fact, interestingly enough, the last 2 seasons, the winner of the first race has been given the win by a penalty. Because last season was the Suzuka race to start it, and there was that controversial incident between Lorenzi and Raiden. And Lorenzi picked up a penalty which gave Fubuki the win, and the season before that, we started at Goodwood for whatever reason. Pretty sure I chose that, but there we go.
Yeah, I think you chose that one.
Yeah, they started at Goodwood, and Raiden got involved in an incident, I believe it was Gemini at the time, into the final chicane, which then cost Raiden a penalty for it, and so gave it to Racer Taylor. So using that law, that the person gets a penalty as Hubi really uses aggressive use of curbs there across that chicane.
Yeah. Gotta be careful though, because if you
penalties are looming. Here we go across the line at a 38.4 that we're going to chase the next person to set a time is going to be Tony Drago. We're just going to call him Tony because it's easier. Around the final corner he comes now and up to the line, and he hasn't gone quicker. Next up is Wittmann. He's always a contender for pole as well, and has he? He has not gone quick enough. Here comes Fubuki, and Fubuki does. Buttocks, is he going to go for pole? Well, given the fact that he's in the 50s, I highly doubt it. And 3 guy comes around the final corner now. He's next, and I don't think he's going to quite do it. He goes P5. Fernando Riff, his first qualifying lap in the Super Formula. He goes 5th behind his teammate, and Ruti's a bit further behind on the track line. So it's for Buki on provisional pole. Only a tenth clear of Hubi though.
Buttocks spins it. Buttocks has had a spin.
There's Buttocks struggling in these cars. Then here comes Ruti into the final chicane as we watch the Killer Queen driver, the Finn, come to the close of the lap. If you had to place a prediction right now where Petri's lap time's going to put him, it's never mind because he's going in the pits. Oh, does he? He tries to go in the pits.
He tried, but yeah.
Didn't quite succeed in his efforts. So for Buki then, provisional pole at the moment. Will that remain? Here comes Hubi. Is he going to go for another lap or pit in? What do you reckon?
I would suspect. I'm gonna say he can end up going to the pits.
He is quite aggressively going across the chicane. He does, but I think after watching 3 seasons of it, the general rule seems to be that you do 1 flying lap, pit in for a fresh set of tyres, then go again. Seems to be a popular way of doing it.
Yeah, Hubi's done it, and he's in the pits.
Here comes Tony though around the final corner, but he's a bit wide, and he actually meant to pit in. So yeah, I think he tried to pit in, but ended up running a little bit wide. Fernando is only half a tenth behind his teammates. There's not much, but the Red Bull name seems to return this season. We've seen it in the first 3 seasons. I don't think it was present last time, was it? Yes, it was, because it was Redden and Ruti were Red Bull, weren't they?
Yeah, they were part.
So the Red Bull name continues in Super Formula. It's a household name, isn't it?
But if it's getting up there, but
it's just had different drivers quite regularly. You were a Red Bull driver once.
Red Bull for the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And then Toyota after that.
That's the extent of your Super Formula career. And it came to the success of 1 podium, which came because the race just didn't want to work. Because you qualified 3rd, and that was Suzuka season 2, and you qualified 3rd, and we just couldn't get the race going properly, so we decided to just do the results based on the grid order, and because of that you got a podium.
Yeah, and I'm actually pretty happy about that. But believe it or not, the best race for me, personally, I've done
Suzuka season 1.
Yeah, that battle with me and
Brighton, yeah, I remember that one well. It was good. I remember what you would say. It was very similar to Senna and Prost. Well, not Senna and Prost. Senna and was it Mansell in Monaco?
Yeah, you said Mansell.
Yeah. I heard Senna and I instantly think Prost.
Yeah, but just looking at the sense now, Hubi hasn't improved.
And 3 guys on a lap. I think he's actually the rest of them. The rest of them are on an out lap, I believe. So M3 guy would be the next one to set a flying lap. He comes. I caught him in one of the sectors, and he was up on his time by a bit. But is it going to be enough? His buttocks actually improved, so I didn't see that. He does improve, but it's by such a small margin that buttocks remains in P6. All of these drivers are going to score points. I think there needs to be some sort of change to the point system. We currently use the real life Formula 1 points, but there's only 8 drivers, so you know. 3, just 2.5 minutes to go then in qualifying for Buki. Does continue to hold provisional pole. We'll see if Buki's able to get through as he comes through as Schumacher S now.
I'm looking at the pits like he's up by 100, so he's improving at the minute. Question is, can he connect? Oh, and I say that he's gone 1,000.
Hubi's gone purple. Hubi is purple in the middle sector.
So is Pit as well. Pit's gone purple by 1,000.
Interesting then, into the final corner. Hubi taking his trademark line through the chicane, and here we go. Round the final corner, a lot of curb on entry there. He was using that track. He's paid for the whole track, might as well use it, and here he goes and across the line, and it's provisional, like 7 tenths, nearly a second up there. What can Phoebe do in the Buki do in retaliation? Old Wittmann, here we go, the top 3, it could still change.
Yeah, can Wittmann get on?
Oh, it's going to be interesting, it's going to be close. 37.6 is the time to beat, and he doesn't do it, but he does go into second on the front row, and for Buki improved, but he doesn't quite do it, and he's a second up on the man in 4th. So the top three are second clear of the two Red Bulls, which are actually called GT3 Racing Team, believe it or not. And we've got a minute left in the qualifying session.
I don't see anyone beating Hubie's down, to be honest.
I don't know if they're going to get another lap to do so. As Ruti said a lap time, yeah, I think he's put himself 6th since he did get a lap in the end. Is anyone on a flying lap? I think Fernando might get another lap in. He is on a flying lap. And they're on a flying lap. But I don't know whether they want to finish it or not. It does look like Hubie's going to take pole position.
But yeah, I think Hubie is going to... Can I amend something real quick?
That depends, what is it?
I said for Buki, he's hoping to take the championship, but I've got a feeling Hubie's going to do it instead.
I'll have you now. That's convenient. And then as soon as someone else takes the championship lead, you get a feeling they're going to do it as well, yeah? Hubie pits in, so he's not going to set another lap time. Here comes Wittmann. He's coming in toward the end of the lap now, and he's got 3 seconds to get to the line if he wants to do another lap, so I think he'll just see if he finishes this one or not. I'm just going to pop in the chat to say qualify is over, just so everyone's aware that they're not allowed to set another lap time if they haven't already done so. And here comes Wittmann then around the final corner, but I don't think he's done it. Is he? Not quite. He's actually down on his time. What about Fabuki just behind? Hasn't. Fernando. There's Ruti, so I think they're all finishing. They're all...
Fernando's on his personal best at the minute.
It looks like they're all finishing as into the final chicane. Good overtaking spot this one. A couple of the drivers now bailing out to change their tyres, so the order will change, and Fernando's backed off, so I think he's not setting that up.
Why is Fernando backed out?
I don't know why he's backed out, but...
Because he just backed down for some reason, he was too sent up.
I think he's just given up on that one. Yeah, so they're going to choose their tyres to start the race on, and then we should be good to go.
Yes, sir. Should be an interesting one.
It is, yes, because 7 times tyre wear, it's never been that low before, so it'll be interesting to see what the strategy is, and whether they think it's going to be a 2-stop or a 1-stop. I actually didn't test the tyre wear, I just whacked out a random number, so for everyone whacked out a random number, so if everyone gets away with doing a 1-stop, it might need to be changed. It could be amended as the season goes on. Especially, to be honest, the real reason I changed it was because of that final track. I kind of amended it with that track in mind. Which, to anyone watching the stream that isn't in the Discord or hasn't checked, is the Nurburgring 24-hour.
Yeah, that's going to be a season finisher, and oh my god, why would you pick it?
Well, it's not my fault. I didn't pick it. I may be sadistic with some of the rule sets I've given to this league, but I'm not that bad.
Well, yeah, to be fair, you have been pretty ridiculous about some of the things that you've put out, I have to say.
Well, this is an experimentation in league racing. What was Wittmann's message? Oh, good luck. Alright, good. It looks like the race is going to be good to go then. It's exciting. It's a new season, a new era of Super Formula with less tyre wear. With the major change. Everything else is pretty much the same. But here we go. I just clapped for some reason. Anyway, moving on. Here we go then. It's ENT Huibi on pole position, VQS Wittmann G on the front row with him, and Fabuki 2007 in third, directly in behind his teammate. Here we go. It's a new season. Who's going to get the season off to a good start then? Well, we're about to find out. The lights come on. And it's lights out and away we go. Who's gone away with the start? Well, I think Ubi's managed to get away pretty well. There's a bit of wheel spin going on in the background. I think Fabuki's trying to get ahead of Wittmann there to make it into the 1-2 for the team. But Wittmann getting very close to Ubi. There's a bit of contact. Constantine up. And Fernando nearly spinning there but managing to hold that one. Potuk's found his way down at the back end. Free guy going around the outside of Tony there into that position. And now I think there's a lot of cars all in such close proximity. Fernando tries to get around the outside of Ruti. That's left him vulnerable to M3 guy in a bit of weaving action here, as M3 guy just squeezing around the outside.
Yeah, interesting start. It's a pretty good start.
Here we go, he's M3, is he going to go for it? He's going side by side with Tony there for 6th place. M3 guy holds the position.
Yeah, he's got the two.
But Hoobie is just gone.
Jesus!
He's not. He is not hanging about, is he? He's just gone. He's already built up nearly 4 seconds of a lead, and Fubuki on the gravel there, nearly spinning. Ruti up into 4th place. He's had a decent start. But Hoobie, he's just right. I'm on pole, and he's just not looked back.
Yeah, but look, he's on the soft tape, and that could possibly give him the advantage at the start and just really push it ahead.
No, wouldn't know the ideal strategy with this tyre. Well, we'll see though, as here comes Tony on M3 guys. They head up the hill toward the chicane, and I think he gets past, and I think his teammate Fernando's trying to get ahead of Ruti there. And Tony, does he get ahead of the chicane? Yes, he does. But Fernando getting very close to Ruti. Ruti, a former Red Bull driver himself. And that's not enough, he's getting close.
Nick's under pressure now, as I see Tony side by side moving out.
On the main straight, that's Tony nodding the slipstream. That could come back to cost him. Not really picking up the slipstream. Ruti's going defensive against Fernando. Is he going to go for it? Not quite. Not quite close enough, but he does get the switch back done, and Ruti looked to struggle on the traction. Now Fernando's around the outside into turn 2. Is this going to be enough for a Portuguese driver? Not quite. Ruti's showing him the door, but Fernando's desperate to get past there, and I think both of these drivers feel like they're being held up by the person in front. Because Fernando's itching to get out of Ruti, and Tony the same for Nick.
Yeah, I think Fernando feels like he's conscious to get a little hold on,
but it's the important thing not to get too desperate, because if you get too desperate you can end up doing something you'll strongly regret later on and just throw your race away. Yeah, but Hoobie is lap 2 and he's 5 seconds ahead.
What magic is this?
How is that possible? He's just gone, look. He's in another dimension.
He's in a... I have no way
he's just not looking back, is he? I mean, Fubuki's starting to lose 2 seconds now to Wittmann, but he'll be 5 seconds in 2 laps. That's just unheard of. Meanwhile, Fernando not quite still ahead of Ruti. Ruti having a decent start into 4th place, a bit of contact, but it all looked good nonetheless. But I think Ruti a decent start in 4th. It's not too bad. I mean, at the start it almost looked like he was ready to go take the top 3, but he didn't quite manage that one. Obviously the overtake button remains to be the way it is, and so that'll be used in the race. It'll be interesting to see what the management of it is for some of the drivers. We know obviously some drivers, would you say it's a bit of a skill having to manage your overtake button in the races?
I would say so, because you have to bear in mind they've only got 90 seconds left for that boost, and then it's gone. So they have to really manage it over the race and take the points. Ideally, obviously it's called the overtake button for a reason. You want to use it to overtake someone, but I say use it coming out the corners so you can get a boost down the corners and just manage it a little bit more than you usually would, I would say.
Because I know for a fact I'm really not good. And like you say, it's about 90 seconds worth in a race that's about half an hour long.
Yeah, you just gotta be late.
Just gotta be on it. Anyway, speaking of overtaking, Tony looks like he's really shaping up a move on M3. This little battle that we're seeing emerge here, this is pretty much showing what Raiden and that keep saying about this track in these cars. It is incredibly difficult to get past around here, because it's a mix of the dirty air and just the way the track is, but it seems to be pretty difficult to overtake. That's why we've had these races in the past around here where they've just been following each other till the very end, because overtaking isn't as simple as it may seem around here. And I mean, M3 guy's a driver known for his love of defending no matter who's behind him, so he's not going to make it any easier for Tony, who's making his ISRL debut against probably one of the harder drivers to pass in the league.
Yeah, well, I think Fernando has made mistakes on that, because he's a little bit further back when he was in the previous lap, so I don't know what's happened to Fernando, right?
Yeah, so this seems to be the main battle going on between 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. Tony getting very close to him. 3 guy and then 3 guys gone shooting off and he's got it wrong. And Tony finds his way through. So it's a mistake in the end that allows Tony to get ahead of Nick there in the position and to take P6. That does put the 2 GT3 racing team drivers, that is their actual name for some, why not I guess. And Emperor Buttocks is gone. Was that a disconnect or a rage quit? Those leave us with 7 though.
I did see him off the track earlier, so he probably
Oh, we'll see then, but here comes...
Oh, Petrie's going to be a lot of pressure now, because since Nick has made that mistake, going off, that's giving Tony a bit of fresh air.
He's got a bit of clean air now, and he's going to have both of them on the back of him as routine. He's going to want to try and hold up against them. See, Fernando, he's used a bit of his overtake there. He's just over a quarter, whereas Ruzi hasn't touched it all race so far.
Yeah, he hasn't touched it, has he? So it should be interesting. He's probably waiting, I don't know, for the closing stages of the race and then just really hammer it on them, maybe.
The tyres do seem to be wearing at quite a lesser extent. I mean, you were saying about Ubi starting on the softs and whether that disadvantage him. If you look at the tyre wear for Ubi and Wittmann, they're really not too far apart. But the tyres don't seem to be wearing. It's an odd thing to see in a Super Formula race, but we've changed the way of the tyre compounds and made them more durable. We might have made them too durable now, when no one's going to pit. Even though they have to, it's still within the rules. But here comes Fernando trying to get out wide there to get ahead, but that wasn't quite enough. She's getting close. You can see, like I said, you don't want to do something desperate. You don't want to get desperate and do something stupid. That'll be the last thing you want to do.
Yeah, because if you make a mistake on this track, it is very difficult to try and rectify it.
Yeah, there is grass and gravel at pretty much every area of the track, so going off is not advised, even if you have spent all day playing dirt for.
Yeah, I was going to say, they should swear rallying games, and then the dirt and the grass is what you want.
Here we go, Ruti's still holding on, he's still managing to hold on a gap that's very small. Be interesting to see if there's any team orders. Will Fernando let his teammate through to Ovigo and Ruti or not? Will be something to see a development, because Tony's been lapping slightly quicker since he's had clean air. And so that's what's allowed Tony to get through. Whether that was because he got clean air or he is genuinely quicker, well, we'll have to see, because he is now back up behind Fernando's. It's Fabuki! Fabuki's made a mistake trying to get in the pits, I think. He's hit the pit wall at the final point strip then to last.
Oh no, Fabuki!
And he's in the pits and it's a disaster. He's got damage to the front of the car and he's going to be miles down now. That does allow Ruti, this battle between Ruti and Fernando has got a whole extra weight to it now, because it's for the podium.
Still good with Fernando.
Debut podium for him.
Yeah, but obviously Petrie's here on it as well, so...
He's had podiums in the past, not many, not overly many. He has picked up 1 or 2. I don't think he's ever won a race.
No, I don't think he's won a race, no.
He might, I don't know. I don't think he has. He has picked up podiums. He's done that for a fact. He's picked up the odd podium here and there, but here he comes in, Fernando, being chased down by Tony. His teammates, these two obviously making their, not just their Super Formula debut, but I do believe it's their ISRL debut. I haven't seen them in anything else.
No, I haven't seen anything else.
So what a race it'd be for Fernando if he can, in his first ever league race with us, take a podium.
Yeah, he's really looking at that.
He's looking, I'm sure that's on his mind. He's looking for it, but will it be enough?
I think he's just trying to look at the optimum time play. If you look at his, just looking at his fuel saving a little bit as well, shifting up a lot earlier than Petrie.
I think fuel's never, the answer fuel's been an issue for this one. I mean, because the fuel, it's usually low. The drivers only tend to make 1 stop for fuel compared to the 7 stops they make for tyres. I don't know, I might be wrong in that.
But maybe Fernando's thinking, try and push the fuel.
It could be a possibility, because if he doesn't have to pit for fuel, the stops are going to be shorter for him. And maybe when Ruti pits slightly longer, he can get out there. But that does bring in this whole team question then, because his teammate's not far behind. And if he's lapping quicker, like he has been, he's only been by like a few tenths. It's not overly much, but it has allowed his teammate to get back on. So it'll be interesting to see the way this plays out.
Or could we see team orders, or could you see the two GT3 racing cars?
Will they allow? Will they be allowed to race each other? That's the question.
Because hopefully Tony's
Fernando. And I think that the real thing on Tony's mind right now for it is that Fernando's been behind Ruti for what, 7 laps? He hasn't been able to get ahead, so I think that's going to be probably Tony's main argument, is that he's just not managed to get ahead. So we might be reading into this completely wrong, but we'll go with it anyways. Tony's his idea of.
You know full well that Petrie's good at defending, you know.
He is, yeah, and he's doing his stop and moment, and Fernando has lost a lot of time, and Hubi pits in from the race lead.
He's 10 seconds. It's not 7, he's 10 seconds ahead. What is
as you do, but here we go. I think Fernando's going defensive against his teammate, so he's not letting his teammate through in any way, shape or form, and Hubi comes out the pits in the lead. He's apparently come out with a 6-second gap. You gotta love it.
I just don't know, QB. What is this? I should have known he was going to be all alien-like.
Yeah, of course. The two Red Bull GT3 car racing, it just don't feel right saying GT3 racing team when they're quite clearly not in a GT3 car. Because I'm going to end up saying GT3 cars because that's the name of the team, but they're very quite clearly not GT3s.
But if you've noticed, the little battle that's going on between Antoine and Petrie just
has opened up a gap. They're very close, and like I keep alluding to, the times are that similar. I don't know if any one of them's inherently much quicker. Like there's just a couple of attempts between them, and so in the long term of this race, they could end up just sitting the whole race in this position.
Yeah, because if you look at Fernando's classifier, that's a 41-3, and if it's 41-1,
he's
tight. He's tight between them.
It is tight. It's literally just a couple of attempts. It's not much. Ruti, he's managed to pull out a gap of a second. Wittmann sits himself 8 seconds behind. Fabuki, he's been down the order before in races and fought his way back. He's actually not too far behind the two Red Bulls.
He's on it.
He sets a purple sector. He's what, 3 seconds. It's not over for Buki. We saw it quite a few times last season actually, that he really doesn't give up. And I think Tony's in the pits. They're both pitting in, and so Ruti's staying out, as does Wittmann, and so they both choose to pit in. That does allow Fabuki through into fourth, sorry, and ahead of them. That makes Fabuki's job a bit easier, I suppose. And
yeah,
soft ties for both of them. Do you reckon they're going to the end?
I could see him going to the end.
Buki pitted. Yeah, Wittmann hasn't pitted. Hubi did pit, and he pitted for softs. He started on the set of the softs, didn't he?
Yeah, he started on the softs, yeah.
So that means Hubi needs to make another stop, even if he can get to the end, because the rule still states that all drivers must use at least 2 of the 3 compounds of tyres, otherwise they face disqualification. So regardless of what happens, Hubi will need to make a second stop due to pitting on the softs. Whereas Wittmann at this stage, halfway through the race, his tyres don't look worn. He's going to go on the softs and go at the end, and you can tell.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's going to pull whatever fuel is and go for it.
She's going to just go at the end. I reckon these two will probably be able to make it to the end. By these two, of course, I mean Tony and Fernando, that are probably dominating this race footage at the moment due to being so close for the majority of the race. It's always good to watch a stream back and see that you're on it. It's half the reason I watch most other people's videos, is to see if I'm actually...
Oh, the battle for first stand to heat up.
Yeah, here we go. Buki, as Petrie goes in the pits, that surrenders that battle. Now, are they going to get ahead? I think he is. So Fernando and Tony, they've managed to work the undercut, and that's going to put Fernando into 4th place. But will Will Fabuki pit again?
Oh, Petri's going to come out alright.
He's come out behind. He has got fresher tyres as well. And we've seen that make the difference previously. So Fernando moves up into 4th place again now, but this time it's because Fabuki's in front. And we'll be interested to see the gap there now. Fernando, for one of the very few times this race, has got clean air.
Yeah, but look at the gap he's coming down to his teammate. His teammate's like, no.
It's very small gap. He's not letting him get away from him. So there's an interesting battle building up here. It could be one of these battles that just never really materialises into anything special. But it's just one of those things that's like, it could happen.
Yeah, it could happen.
It could happen, but
if you're going to make a move,
you've got to make sure you get it right, because one of the reasons you've got to make sure you get the move right is because you don't want to make contact with them, and if you go for a move and it doesn't quite work, the driver you're going to overtake, they're going to catch wise to that, and they'll start defending that position more often. With certain drivers, you've sort of just got to pick your moments to overtake. There's certain drivers that race around the place that you kind of have to surprise a move on them. They're not drivers that you can go for the more optimal ones, the more defend heavy ones. You've got to sort of. But he's in the pits, he pits in. He's going to go on to the soft. Fabuki stays out again. Wittmann's going on the soft tyres, and they don't really come out too close to each other. There's Ruti in the background of all this, watching the two cars in front race each other. And how far apart? Why is Wittmann in 24 seconds behind Hubi? He's just gone. Hubi is just disappeared.
Jesus, what the hell, Hubi?
There's no two ways about it. Like, if he does, so you know we were on about Hubi's 100% win rate.
yeah, it's going to stay 100%.
It's going to stay 100%, isn't it?
Yeah, if he's going to perform on this every single race, then yeah, I do think Hubi is,
Imagine if he does win every single race. So here comes. Let's not talk about the future, because we've got Tony chasing down his teammate yet again, who's been chasing down his teammate for the whole season. For the whole race. So I guess it has been the whole season.
Yeah, I think it has been the whole season.
Thus far, it's been the whole season.
Yeah, that's right. I can see Fernando just using that overtake just to try and get away from
Ruti still hasn't touched his overtake button, and Free Guy's used about half. Tioni's used just under half, and he's using it there as well, as is his teammate Fernando, who's got just under half as well. Fabuki's got full. Wittmann's got used a little bit. Hubi's also used a little bit, but I don't think Hubi's concerning himself too much with that. Fabuki, does he pit in? He doesn't pit in, so I wonder if Fabuki's going to try and get to the end then and go for the podium, which, to be honest, that's the position he was in when it all went wrong for him, so...
Yeah, it was, yeah. So he'll be... But his question is, are those tyres going to last as long as he thinks?
That is the question. Well, I mean, look at the tyre wear on them. Yeah, he pitted like lap 5, he's been going for like 7 laps and they look like that.
Like Tony is just lost a bit of time to his teammate.
Yep. Just a little, but he's still there or thereabouts. I think the one thing I've got to be impressed with is they haven't really made a mistake, have they, all race?
Tell you what, apart from that incident in the first corner, this is probably the cleanest I've seen.
It's because you're not in it.
Okay. Tony. Wait till I go back and then you'll see
a bunch of dirty races again.
Yeah, I'll make Super Formula dirty again.
Alright, Trump.
Really? What?
Actually, I imagine you with a hat that just says make Super Formula dirty again.
There we go. There's some merch ideas for ISRL.
Oh, a bit off there. Yeah. We're sort of rambling on a bit now. It's become.
Just look at Hubi. He's like 24 seconds. He's just gone. Wittmann is 5 seconds in front of him.
Fabuki's in. Fabuki has chosen to pit in.
Oh.
So Fabuki making his second stop now to discern the tyres that aren't going to last. That does put Fernando back up into the top 3. And does Ruti get into 4th with Fabuki? A bit of fuel put into the car, and Ruti It's going to be tight, is it? I think he's got out ahead of Ruti there then. But not by much, it's not by much. Here he comes. He's not quite close enough to get ahead though, as Ruti thought. P6 for him for now. Now for Buki's mission, he's going to chase him down. He's going to wait him to try and close that gap down and overtake both of them.
Yeah, but it's 3 seconds behind, and we know how quick the two Red Bulls have been. They've been pretty quick so far.
It's all being quick. Oh my god! Look at the two Red Bulls. Look at their last lap. Look at their lap 12.
What the? That is tight.
That's weirdly odd. Like, why is it? So we've got a 139.567 from Fernando, a 139.537 from Tony. It's incredibly close. And not only that, they've been relatively consistent as well. I mean, the lap times, they haven't been varying massively. I mean, around about the 38s, 39s for both of them.
Yeah, you can to be very consistent because, I mean, all 41s and 42s in the mediums and 38s and 39s on the softs.
Yeah, and they haven't, you can tell they're also both similarly paced because the gap hasn't come down. No matter how annoying that must be that the gap isn't changing for both of them. I'm sure Fernando's going to want to break away and Tony's going to get closer, but it's just not changing for either of them. Well, the gap is staying about the same. But we've got Fubuki looming in the background, he's closing in.
Yeah, Fubuki is touching. But what Tony has compared to Fubuki is that slipstream. So
yeah, but what Fubuki has in comparison to the Red Bulls is the overtake. They're both in the final quarter for overtake. Fubuki's not touched these yet, neither is Ruti. I wonder if it's a Wittmann case from season 1 around here when when Wittmann forgot which button he assigned to overtake. He went the whole race without using his overtake because he forgot which button it was. He couldn't figure out the button. He was pressing a load of buttons and he apparently nearly even pulled the handbrake in the process.
Yeah, well, that's
all that whilst being chased down by Red and into the closing stages of purple sector from Fubuki there. No points for fastest lap here, but I suppose you get pride. But he is within a second now of the Red Bull, so 3rd, 4th and 6th is still on 3rd, 4th and 5th, right? Still on the line for all three of these drivers. Here comes Fubuki. Is he going to be enough?
Oh, he's using his overtake, he's going for it.
Oh, he's found his overtake button then, he's going for it, he's heading to the outside for the chicane. There's yellow flags. It's Wittmann! Wittmann's round! Just before the final corner! That's going to put Fernando into it and does Fubuki ahead on the yellow flags. It's now green. And Tony tries to hold it around the outside and Wittmann drops to 5th and he's in the pits as is Ruti there. And suddenly the Red Bulls on their debut are both on the top 3. But here comes Fubuki to the inside into turn 1, it's all exploding here and down the inside, does he go for Fubuki? Does he make it? Tony's making it difficult for him, but in the end he gets ahead and Tony spins! He spins a mistake, we said they weren't making many, and he's made one there and a costly error at that.
I tell you what
but here comes Wittmann now on fresh tyres, is he going to get ahead? Oh, disaster for Tony, what could have been on his debut, and it's gone wrong. But now attention shifts as Fernando has got a second to Fubuki.
Well, we know how quick Fubuki can be, so just look at the gap.
And Hubi is 33 seconds ahead.
Well, yeah, we'll just ignore Hubi because we all
he's in a league of his own, he's just not looked back, has he? He's still on the softs though, yeah. He's winning. I was literally just about to say, he's still on the softs. If he doesn't pit off the softs,
he's got to get into the mediums or the hards.
Oh, but we'll have to check back with him because there's Fubuki and Fernando going side by side. Heading onto the back straight now, is this going to be close enough?
He's on mediums.
Oh, he's on the mediums. He's saved himself from disqualification then. But here comes Fubuki. He's going to try the exact same thing again they did to Fernando's teammate. It didn't quite work there and Fernando's fighting back, but it's not quite enough. Now Fernando's going to turn his attention. Fubuki, he's ahead, but he's got to stay ahead now, and as Fernando's out of overtake, he's run dry on his overtake. No more overtake boost assistance. It's all on his own, and he's shaping it up for turn 1, but backs out of that one.
So for Buki, he can just use his overtake and try and build that gap.
Sure now is in fact Ruti. The table, I'm sure Ruti is thinking right now that the tables have turned because suddenly it's him bearing down the neck of a Red Bull car. Instead of the other way round like it was for the majority of the opening stages of the race.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's got a gap on Tony, 3 seconds. He's got 6 seconds towards Fernando, and he's putting that gap down now. So he is a little bit. Well, if I was Fernando, I would be really tough for this race.
I think it's gone well for a debut. I mean, you've seen that his teammate made a costly error that could come back to cost them points in the team championship, of course, but as we're in the closing stage, he's getting very close, but he's not quite close enough.
Yeah, if Pittman didn't make that mistake, I think with Pittman making that mistake,
he's got a run coming out the Schumacher race on Tony, but that's not quite enough there. Wasn't quite enough of a car through, and I'm loving this battle because I get to just look at Ruti's car.
Well, in the way, sort of Queen, you can't stop him now.
He's having such a good time. He doesn't want to stop at all.
I think it's going to go all season.
It's going to be a whole season just of Queen references, isn't it? I can tell you now.
Right, hang on. Let me phone. I'll get a bunch of lyrics up on my phone and just read them off.
I imagine whenever they win, we're just going to end up belting out Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh dear.
I did have one there, it's gone now. Oh yeah, after all, Ruti is a racing car. Passing by. About to explode. Well, we hope he's not about to explode, but you know.
Yeah, well, I don't want him to explode.
In fact, I just realised on that the Queen car, it's actually got the Red Bull sponsorship on the nose.
Yeah, they've got Red Bull sponsorship.
So they're sponsored by Red Bull. There's 2 teams that have got Red Bull sponsorship. It's just one's a lot more extravagant with their Red Bull sponsorship.
Yeah, one of them's my gas plane.
That is
Yeah, I went over that.
Anyway, it's interesting that Red Bull chosen to sponsor 2 teams in the league this season. Ruti getting very close, but he's just not quite close enough to take the position. In fact, Wittmann's really closed in on Fernando, and Wittmann's got to try and get past Fernando on this final lap. Speaking of the final lap, Ubi is already on it.
Well, he's been on it this whole entire race. Just look at it. He's 27 seconds and he's like, yeah, no, see you later, boys. I'm taking this one.
So this is interesting. The race that we've got is that it's with the reduced tyre wear, which there was question marks about. We've had a mix of 2 and 1 stop races. We've had Fernando and Tony on the 1 stop. Ruti was on 2 stops. He's gone around the outside into turn 1, has he? Tony fights back. He's done the same again. He's done the exact same thing again. Oh, disaster strikes us again. They said lightning doesn't strike twice. Well, there you go.
In this case, he does. Oh, looks like we're going on for the last lap battle between Fernando and Pittman.
For the final spot on the podium, and in the interviews, of course, because we're going to interview the top 3. Will it be Fernando or will it be Wittmann? Bit of a nudge there. I think Wittmann should make a cherry nose there. And interestingly, neither of them have got overtakes. This is purely on their own. They're going to have no assistance here. Here we go, is he going to be close enough? Wittmann goes to the outside, Fernando's going to try and defend, he is defending that inside, but if Wittmann can hold it around the outside like that, like he does, and what a move! He's done it! Hubi has just taken the victory of the first race of the season, his 3rd win in Super Formula out of the 3 races done. The big looks like he's going to take 2nd, and Fernando, it's not the podium, but he knows he's definitely capable of getting podium finishes in this season. I think it wouldn't be too surprising to not see him up there. There is for Buki to cross the line for P2. Yes, he does. And VQS Wittmann G on the podium yet again. Fernando Riff, he gets 12th in his debut. Ruti 5th in the end, the only Queen car with the absence of Raiden. In 6th place is Tony. The M3 guy rather disastrous 7th. And then for Buttocks, the only non-finisher.
I have to say that, I don't know about you, but I'll be giving my driver of the day to Fernando for that race.
I think I might second that. Well, I think he'll be a good, strong contender. I mean, even if he was in a race of his own, he did a good job of doing that.
Yeah, he absolutely just ran away.
He had a decent start and didn't look back. Oh, mad. Could have pitted in an extra couple of times and still come out noise. But yeah,
he could have pitted 5 times and still be in the lead.
So a good race then. All right, I think it wasn't the most exciting race throughout. I think, being honest, the beginning was. I mean, the start was a bit chaotic as usual, and then it sort of dulled out a bit. But then it got interesting toward the end as we saw a number of battles that were all to be decided at the end. Somehow, we didn't get a clean race actually.
Just the latter stage of that race, it was all kicking off.
So there we go, those are your official results. ERT Huibi taking the first point of the season, Fabuki second, 3rd place Wittmann, 4th Fernando, 5th Ruti, 6th Tony, 7th and 3 guy, and the fastest lap was Wittmann G. Now, I'm going to now invite into party the top 3. So why have you not got any questions yourself? Well, there we go then. I sent them the invite, so we'll see if they join.
Yeah, but yeah, I said driver of the day for me, Fernando. He should debut.
Yeah, I think that's a fair judgment. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, first one's ready.
So if the other two. Just like the race, he's got here. He's managed to get in here considerably quicker than anyone else. Hello.
Yeah, it's 30 seconds ahead of everyone else again.
Hello, chaps.
Well, let's see if Wittmann will join us. And he's writing something at the moment, so.
Yes.
Any minute now.
Come on, bitch.
Letting us down here. Should we just start without him, and if he joins midway through, he joins midway through?
Oh, hello.
Oh, hang on. So a bit at that time. Ah, fair enough then. So we'll go. Right, so Hubi then, we'll start with you, seeing as you won the race, and not that I think there's much to talk about, but would you like to take us through your race?
Yeah. So I did quali pretty well, and I was pretty happy with the quali time I set. And at the start, I don't know what happened, but someone tapped me at least, but it didn't matter too much. And I just, I decided to start on the soft so I could drive away in the first couple of stints, and basically, well, I don't know, drove on my own and had a good time driving this track again, I guess, and just kept consistent, tried not to win it, which I almost did once, and yeah, that's about it.
Just sort of dissipated and never looked back.
Yeah, guess I kinda had to.
Fabuki, what about your race then? Obviously I think there was some sort of error trying to get in the pits or something. What happened there?
I had for the whole race we basically had Regner and Darren having a conversation with you.
Shouting in our ears, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't imagine that
talking
would
about
help.
their nation's race. not in sight. I was really struggling to concentrate.
Yeah,
So I
same.
lost control over the back at the back end on the chicane just before the pits. I was planning on keep going round again at that point. I was just like, screw it, there was some soft tyres, I can chase people down that way. And I decided a little bit too late, so I was just like understeering straight into the pit wall. So yeah, it was a mess, but still.
Monty, have you got any questions to add?
Not really, no, apart from well done, lads. I do want to say about for Boogie, I thought, even though you did kind of hit the pit wall, let's be honest, had a good pit stop and you caught up. What do you think about that race so far? About what battle you won?
It wasn't too bad, it's quite fun. I enjoyed it and have last to first in the first race, so why not? Well, not quite first, I have nowhere near who was based off the year.
Nice, good on you,
I
man.
tried.
Also, that continues your 100% win rate, because in the 2 races you subbed last season you won, and you've just won the first race of the season here, so well done on that front. Do you expect?
Cheers.
Do you want to try keep that going, or?
I'll try, for sure. I can't promise anything.
My question for you is, will you be defining Reading for this championship?
Well, I'll be challenging him for sure. That's the point for sure that I'm trying to get to have a good battle with him and focus on the rest of him. So yeah, I hope I can stop his title.
Already 25 points ahead.
That's true.
Yeah, you had a good start for that. So the next track then, next week will be Spa. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yes, please.
Yes,
I'm going to say
please.
you did quite well with that one for Bookie, so.
Yeah, I don't actually remember the result. Is it a win?
It was, yeah. I think you took pole in the win.
Ooh.
So
Try
we'll
to
see.
repeat that then.
Yep. So we'll see you next week then.
Alright.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Well done. And goodbye, stream.